so example 1, we're going to define the median and identify the median in the following triangle. Define altitude, identify the altitude in the following triangle. So, a median is a line segment that connects a vertex of a triangle to the opposite sides midpoint. That's what a median does. Is a line segment that goes from the vertex of a triangle to the opposite side's midpoint. Go ahead and copy that down real quick. And a lot of times you're told stuff. You're told that something's a median, and they don't mark up the figure for you at all. And they might say, hey, segment BD is a median in this triangle. Well, if a median goes from a vertex to a midpoint, by them saying that DB is a median, again, I'm just looking at future problems. If they say DB is a median, that immediately tells me that B is a midpoint. If B is a midpoint, that immediately tells me that AC gets cut in half, which means that AB and BC are congruent. The fact that I see that AB and BC were marked congruent tells me that B is a midpoint, which means D is the vertex, B is a midpoint. This segment's connecting those. That tells me that BD is the median. So define median, that's the definition. And again, the markings they gave me, the fact these are congruent, making B a midpoint. Midpoint to vertex is a median. Now BD is the median. Comfortable with that? So just learning some new words here and understanding what they mean. Slide that down. The other thing they're asking me to define is altitude and to identify the altitude. Okay, the altitude definition says this: an altitude of a triangle is a segment from a vertex drawn perpendicular to the line that contains It's kind of a clumsy definition for altitude, but as you can see from this picture, we're going to look at it, that the altitude isn't always inside the triangle, okay? And if it were always inside the triangle, we could very easily say that it's perpendicular to the opposite side. Well, the opposite side to A is DC. If you take a look here, here's vertex A, here's the opposite side DC. Right? I want to draw perpendicular to the opposite side, but I can't make that happen in this triangle. So to go perpendicular, I have to come straight down off of A. So I have to extend that line. DC is contained on the line EC. AE is perpendicular to EC, and that's what altitude is. So when you're looking at altitude of a triangle, it's the segment from a vertex perpendicular to either the opposite side of the line it sits on. So in this case, AE is an altitude. Every triangle has 3 medians. Every triangle has 3 altitudes. Okay. This triangle, we've only identified BD as one median and AE as 1 altitude. There's 4 total centers in triangles. We've already dealt with 2 of them in chapter 5.2. The circumcenter is where the perpendicular bisectors intersect. The end center is where the angle bisectors intersect. Where the medians intersect, they intersect at what's called the centroid. Centroid's kind of a cool center. It is the center of gravity. If you had an actual physical triangle you can hold in your hand, say made out of paper or cardboard or something like that, you'd want something kind of stiff so it wouldn't like bend, all right? And you found the exact point the median is, you could balance it on a pin. Just balance the triangle at the centroid. And the, oh, I forgot to change the order of these. Medians are down here. The place where the altitudes intersect is called the orthocenter. Orthocenter. All right, so again, a total of 4 centers in triangles. You don't have to draw 3 of them to get these things. Again, if you draw 2 perpendicular bisectors, you'll find the circumcenter. If you draw 2 angle bisectors, you'll find the end center. If you were to draw 2 medians, you can find the centroid. If you draw 2 altitudes, you can find the orthocenter. The orthocenter does not have to be inside the triangle. Circumcenter does not either. The other 2 are going to be inside the triangle every time. So a little vocabulary and then just identification of what things are. And again, the definitions give you information. They say median, you know a midpoint. They say altitude, you know a segment's perpendicular, so you know there's a right angle in there. So you know that those, they're going to tell you things and they'll expect you to know what property is going to be present because of those things.